There's one question I ask every single client, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It has saved me from doing massive amounts of revision work. And most designers never ask it. And that's why they end up redesigning things over and over. Hey there, I'm Mark Des Cotes. This is video 3 in a 4-part series where we're talking through 50 questions you should ask before taking on any new design project. Now, if you've watched videos 1 and 2, you know we've covered understanding the company and understanding the target audience. Well, today we're getting into the nitty-gritty of what your client actually wants to see. We're 29 questions deep, and we've learned about their business, their competition, their audience, their brand history. Now we're moving into design preferences and brand perception. This is the section where the actual visual direction starts to emerge. And by the time we're done, you're going to know exactly what direction to take your design in. So let's get started. Question number 30. What color palettes do you prefer? Now, we asked earlier if they had an established color palette. This question is different. This is about their personal preference. What colors do they like or dislike? I have one client I've worked with for years. I've designed dozens of things for her, and I've learned through experience never to use the color green. No matter how well suited it is for the design, if I use green, she won't approve it. So when I design for her, I work with every other color in the spectrum, but never green. Now, she's never explicitly told me she doesn't like green, but I've learned it through trial and error over the years. But if I'd asked this question up front, I would have saved myself some rounds of revision. Sometimes clients will tell you they prefer cool colors or warm colors. Sometimes they'll get very specific. A law firm told me they only wanted colors found in nature, not neon colors, not artificial colors, just natural earthy tone colors. And that completely directed my color choices for everything I designed for them. So ask this question and listen carefully to the answer. Now, next is the one question I mentioned at the beginning, the one that saves me from doing work twice. Question 31, will this project be used in print, on the web, or both? Now, this is critical. You need to know the medium because it changes how you design. If they're asking you to design a web banner or something for social media, and it's only ever going to exist on the web, you can work in lower resolution. You can optimize it for the screen. But if they tell you it's only for the web, and then 6 months later, they want to blow it up into a billboard, you've got a problem. You didn't design it with that intent in mind. So you need to ask up front, are we designing this only for the web? Or might it end up in print somewhere? Might it become a vehicle wrap, a billboard, a sign, a poster, a t-shirt? If they say, no, this is only for the web, we have no plans to use it anywhere else, then great, you can focus your design accordingly. But if they say it might end up in print too, then you design with that end in mind from the beginning. You design at a higher resolution, and you think about how it'll translate across the media. This question saves you from doing massive rework down the road. Now, question 32, is there anything from your past marketing material that you want to incorporate into this new project? Now, we've talked about this earlier when discussing brand history, but this question is more specific. They're saying, okay, we want something new, but are there elements from what we already have that should carry forward? Maybe there's a font they love. Maybe there's an icon or image that's associated with the brand. Maybe there's a color that customers recognize. Can you imagine an agency designing a McDonald's ad without using the red and gold for their colors? No. And when you know what to carry forward, you can create something that feels fresh while maintaining brand continuity. People will still recognize it as coming from the same company, even though it looks new. Now, question 33, are there any restrictions or limitations to consider when designing this project? This is where things get practical, and sometimes it's where you discover information that completely changes the project. In my area of Canada, a major limitation is the language barrier. Depending on the client, everything might need to be in both French and English. If they're asking for a 2-page brochure, I need to know, are they splitting it English on one side, French on the other, or is this a completely English brochure? That'll change the layout completely. I had another situation years ago. A client hired me to design a very formal invitation for a charity ball. Beautiful design, and they loved it. We were about to send it off to the printer. Then they mentioned something. These invitations were going to be delivered in special wooden boxes they had ordered. And this had been discussed and agreed upon internally months before, but no one had informed me about the boxes or bothered to inquire about their dimensions. And as it turned out, the invitation I designed were too large to fit in the boxes. So we had to redesign them at the last minute. We had to shrink everything. It was a mess. If I had asked about restrictions and limitations up front, they possibly would have remembered the boxes, and we would have designed with that constraint in mind from the beginning. So ask this question. Ask about language requirements, size limitations, material restrictions, shipping considerations, distribution methods, anything that might affect the design. Now, question 34, are there any new design elements you would like to try in the project? Now, chances are your client has been looking at other designs. If they want a new website, they've been browsing websites. If they want a brochure, they've probably been looking at other brochures. They might have seen something they really like. Maybe it's a design style. Maybe it's a specific visual element. Maybe it's a way of organizing information. By asking this question, you're inviting them to share inspiration. And that inspiration is valuable. It gives you direction. Now, I'm not saying they want you to steal or copy someone's work. But if they say, I really like how this website uses photography, or I really like how this brochure incorporates hand-drawn elements, that's information you can use. You can incorporate similar techniques in a way that's original and right for your client. Now, question 35, are there any design styles that you do not like? And here's another question that saves you from doing work twice. I had a client once. She was an elderly woman I think she was in her late 70s. And when I asked her this question, she said, I don't like that new grunge skateboarder look. Now, I'll tell you the truth, it was kind of funny to hear that coming from her, but it was incredibly valuable information. And now I knew not to design anything with a grunge aesthetic for this client. No matter how much I might think it works, she's not going to like it. So this question prevents you from going down design roads that your client doesn't want to travel. I know our mantra as designers is to ask clients what they want and give them what they need, but that's a tough barrier to cross if you design something they find unappealing. Maybe they've seen something they really don't like. Maybe it's overly complicated. Maybe it's too minimal. Maybe it's too colorful. Whatever it is, knowing what they don't want is just as important as knowing what they do want. So there you have it. 6 more questions, questions 30 through 35. And here's what's happened in your conversation by now. You understand your client's business, their audience, their brand history, their brand personality, and their design preferences. You're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping your design direction is right. You know it is because you've asked. You know what colors to use. You know whether to go traditional or modern. You know what elements to carry forward and what to leave behind. You know what emotions to communicate and what styles to avoid. You've moved from general understanding to specific creative direction. Now, we've covered 35 questions across 3 videos. We've handled the business, the audience, the creative side. But there's one more section, and honestly, it's a section that makes most designers nervous. In the 4th and final video, we'll discuss the budget, timeline, project logistics, and deliverables. This is the stuff that isn't fun to talk about, but it's absolutely essential. Because a great design process means nothing if you don't have the practical details locked down. Who's your contact person? What are the deadlines? What's the budget? Who handles the printer? These are things that matter. And if you haven't already subscribed by now, we're almost at the finish line of this complete framework for taking on design projects like a true professional. And if you're ready to start using these questions with your clients right now, I've put together a downloadable PDF of all 50 questions organized by category. You can grab that and use it as a reference during your client calls. Check the link in the description. It's absolutely free. Till next time, stay creative.